The wisest person in my family by leaps and bounds was my mom. And she knew that the whole business of me chasing money and being oriented around getting all these members and customers and new sales, she knew that that wasn't me. She knew that what I really wanted to do, what I had a passion for, what I had an obsession for, was doing the training, really getting to know people, really making a difference in people's lives one at a time.
The ship is for far from Gatsby. This title is quite insightful and quite clever as well. I loved learning how they come about this title and where it came from. It's just quite interesting. I loved it. I also loved the animated sections complementing key parts of the story, how we learned about family members, what they did for a living, how they survive with the different members of the family and their different stories. The format is refreshing and friendly. I enjoyed learning about this entrepreneur's journey and overcoming obstacles and naysayers. It is important to showcase personalities like this and make it easier for others as they can relate and see themselves either with the same obstacles or similar situations. I love the vulnerability and how friends and family talk about Todd. The this seems like a very tight group, and it is just good to see how the mission for everything is just helping others have healthy bodies, and it was just quite inspiring.
Far from Gatsby, I really, really liked this. I liked how they built the story and how they told the story, with him kind of taking almost like an autobiographical approach to it, with really taking the time to show and explain him growing up and as a child and how that kind of family dynamic happened, which was definitely a huge part in developing who he was as a person. And also at the same time, you also got this development and evolution of his gym. So not only did you see kind of where it came from with his passion and how he discovered that growing up, but then you also got to see kind of the evolution from like phase one of the gym and what they really started off with and what it has progressed and evolved to this day, which I think is really, really fantastic. And I loved that at the very end he was kind of in like throughout it he did a very good job of being very upfront about his circumstances, and even the parts of his childhood and everything where he struggled and things weren't as great, and being very real about how he really was, and like I said, how he struggled, and kind of seeing the parallels between him and Greg and Jay Gatsby, which is one of his favorite books, and using that parallel to really describe and drive home at the very end that he didn't have a tragic ending, and that he truly does believe that the American dream is still alive and you can still achieve it. And all these different things that really at the end of Great Gatsby weren't. In the end, it was a tragedy. In the end, the kind of final message is the American dream is dead, it's over. So I really liked how they crafted the story, but then also how you got this kind of final message that brought it really full circle.
Far from Gatsby showcases a man who doesn't necessarily want to be in the spotlight. You get to see this archive footage of a gentleman winning a competition alongside someone that we're all known and familiar with, John Cena. And it's the early ages of John Cena's career, and you get to see basically his competition, his counterpart, and you get to see that the journey is not necessarily trying to strive for the spotlight. And I think that's what a beautiful journey is. You get to see these different moments that showcase the different dynamics within this gentleman's lifestyle, his existence, from the way that he ends up leading his career, leading his family, and leading his livelihood. You get to see that all he wanted to be was become involved in fitness and personal training and motivation and things of that nature. And so we get to see his journey within that, rather than fighting for this idealism of trying to be the best and win the prize. He notices that the prize might be already right in front of him, as we get to hear these pocket of stories when it comes to how he builds his relationship with his significant other, for instance. So Far from Gatsby ultimately is the story about how necessarily your journey might not lead you to the spotlight, but it may be just as fulfilling of a life.